first up, on the blue side, you know them, you love them, make some noise and keep it going for SK Gaming! And on the red side, a team on top that shows no signs of slowing down. Keep it going for Gambit Gaming! I have a hunch our crowd is a bit biased. Let's head back over to our commentators, Joe and Freak for the English stream, and Ocho and Gilligan for the Spanish.
Thanks a lot, Shocks, and welcome back to the Castles for our final game of the day as SK take on Gambit.
And these teams, unfortunately for the SK fans out here, are on really opposite sides of the standings. Gambit look absolutely amazing, and they really have since back Moscow 5 days at IEM Kiev. They've always been at sort of the top of the European sort of scene there. Or SK, I mean, they're unfortunately in last place. They're having a tough time pulling it together, and usually it's sort of the late game that tends to kind of kick them in the butt at the end there. However, I talked to Ocelot this morning, and he's confident in a turnaround, actually. He said that anytime SK loses, they show up as a different team the next day.
Well, they certainly need to, don't they? That's the thing here. And they're up against some tough opposition. So let's have a look at the two teams then, starting with SK Gaming on the blue side. And of course, Kevin in the top lane, Hercubot in the jungle, Ocelot in the mid lane, and Candy Panda and Nif, the AD carry and support.
And of course, for Gambit Gaming on the red side, Darian in top, Diamond Prox in the jungle, Alex It's the AD carry, more like the mid lane carry, Kenja the actual AD carry, and Darker their support.
So before these guys get underway, let's see what the fans out there think about this one, Freak. Who are they giving the edge to?
It's a bit more one-sided than last. They give it 76% towards Gambit. And honestly, when you've got first versus last place, you kind of expect a vote line like that. Of course, still some fans out there for SK think they can bring it back. Of course, they have in the past, so maybe.
Yeah, and the thing is, we talked about this one earlier on, because the table is so close as well, that we say first versus last, but it's not quite the massive uphill battle. We'll have to see about that one. Don't forget, you can still vote for all the games that are coming up over the course of the weekend. Obviously, tomorrow being our last day, over on lolesports.com. So let's look a little bit harder into this one. SK had another rough day yesterday as they failed to meet your makers in our first LCS game here in Tenerife. And despite that obvious support from the amazing crowd here in Tenerife, Meet Your Makers were able to come out very strong and dominate SK.
And SK can't be happy about that. They only picked up 1 kill. They got 0 turrets, and we know SK to be an emotional team, so this could really hurt them if they keep that game in their heads. However, SK typically does have a strong early game, and Ocelot has identified that their struggle and their difficulty is the mid-game push and pushing that early advantage to something else. So as soon as they figure that out, that mid-game aggression, they're going to be in great shape. And so we saw that even come from them. Yesterday, they picked out Xerath because they wanted to get an early siege, or an early lead, and then start sieging out. I actually missed what you looked at.
You didn't miss a lot. It was a fan-made picture of Ocelot covered in milk.
All right, well, anyway, beyond that, of course, you know, that's what the Xerath pick was for. It was get an early lead and then try to siege out. Unfortunately, they faltered early game. But if they can keep the early game going strong against Gambit, who likes to be up early as well, then they've got a good chance.
So they are up against Gambit, of course, who looked very comfortable playing their own game to pick up a win against Lemon Dogs yesterday. And, you know, I say their own game because Lemon Dogs put massive early pressure, took the inner middle turret after, I think, 4.5 minutes or so. But Gambit stuck to their plan, and they did it perfectly.
Exactly, and that's kind of what happens with Gambit. They're incredibly intelligent, especially when games get crazy early on. They did lose those 2 minutes, those 2 turrets within the first 6 minutes, but then they used that as an advantage. They froze the middle lane. They actually removed basically 1/3 of the possible farm from Lemon Dogs, and Alex Itch just got to get massive on cast, and he picked up the not Rabbitin's Death Cap, the Magi Soul Stealer. There we go, the Magi Soul Stealer. And at that point, the game was basically decided. So Gambit's mix of early mid-game intelligence and sheer mechanical skill make them incredibly hard to beat. And honestly, they're SK's kryptonite. They're 5-1 against SK across the spring and summer split so far.
But that one may be the thing that they cling on to for this one. We'll have to see. As we said, it's first place versus last place right now. And SK could really do with a confidence booster at this stage. So we are going to be getting into game. You can see Ocelot there just having a quiet moment. It's probably his last quiet moment, though, on this stage, especially if things go SK's way, because this crowd, they've been warming up all day to this one. I think, you know, we've got Xpeke, we've got Araneo, we've got Mythy, we've got Ocelot. I think Ocelot is the crowd favorite here in Spain, and we saw him out there yesterday warming up the crowd himself. I don't think we really need, you know, anyone on stage other than Ocelot here in Spain, because he certainly knows how to get his fans going for this one. But, you know, they're not going to be that loud if SK aren't doing well in this game.
And it's this funny thing too, because if he wants to get the crowd going, all he has to do is wink like that, or just stand up and be like, guys, and then they'll start cheering. But you get into a game, you pick up a kill. You pick up kills against Gambit. You win a game against Gambit against the #1 team in Europe right now, and the crowd's going to go mental. They're already a very exciting crowd. They're already amazing to listen to, and you hear them chant without the game even starting yet, and you know they're going to get crazy.
And you see there instantly, SK Gaming and his fans, and you can see the concentration on his face from that. And now he's similar to Araneo in a way that he loves to shout when things are going well, and you heard how Araneo's voice was almost failing him during that last interview. So we'll see how that one goes. We are going to get into the bans and the picks here. What can we expect, Freak?
Well, we're going to see a lot of the standard bands coming out, be Kassadin, any of the big playmakers there. Alex Ich, I think he's sort of well-deserved the title of main carry for Gambit. He tends to pick up most of the farm. He's the major split pusher, and he tends to be these high-impact champions who carry games. So the Kassadin throwing that one away. The Udyr also is good because it's a one-sided ban. It's not a champion that Hercubot plays much, if at all, and so you remove that from Diamond, you make him go to maybe a second-string jungler, and these are all smart. Meanwhile, the Nunu and TF, they're big favorites there, and Gambit can play without the global pressure, without the jungle counter-jungling.
So let's see if Shen gets taken away. Elise is going to be dropped out. Both Kevin and Darian, of course, do play Elise from that one, so you don't want that to be going over to Darian. And the final ban there from Gambit will be Shen.
Yeah, so no shenanigans in this game whatsoever. SK is going to have to play it without that split push. We prepared that one.
We love you, Freak. That's why we love having you here. We did practice that one earlier, though. Just an insight. I've been thinking of them all day. It took us 4 hours to come up with that one, so enjoy it while you've got it. First pick coming out here is going to be Thresh, possibly. I'm assuming it's going to be Thresh here. This is, though, a champion that NIF, up until now, has played 5 times, and they've only won 1 game with Thresh.
And that's a rough statistic, because you can't always look at it and be like, oh, for sure, you know, it's Thresh's fault, because they've not had the best luck all season anyway. But it is one thing they are going to let get through. And as well, Diamond's Evelyn, of course, I forgot to mention this one as well. That's the one he's gone to. I know last week it was 100% pick ban for a game. It was either stolen away, banned away, or insta-locked by Gambit here. And it just fits that play style so well for Gambit. Of an early lead, you can't ward against him very well. And the thing is, they don't have to rush for her, because it's not a champion Hercubot plays much, if at all, either. So they can take that bottom lane, the Sona that they love to play with. Never mind.
Oh, no.
Still going to be Evelyn, right? The early game advantage there. Darian with the Varus is going to have a good time in lane and has high utility for that Alex carry later on in team fights.
And I'm assuming it will be Sona later on there as well. I mean, Darian, his most played champion so far is that Varus, so no real surprise to see that one coming back in. But a quick picks here for SK Gaming. We're going to be seeing that Xin Xiao and a Vayne here for Candy Pan. And now that Vayne has proved also a key element in those late game matchups where SK have traditionally struggled to close out.
And it's so good for 2 reasons. And one is exactly the late game carry potential is very, very big, especially if Ocelot can run another carry champion like Ryze, who scales so well into the late game, and it'll hedge their bets there quite a lot. And also just Candy Pan has individually performed very, very well on Vayne. I think he's been consistently the best performing player on SK in the past couple of weeks. My opinion, you don't have to agree with me, but he's been really on point, I think. And giving him a playmaker like Vayne, someone who can kind of outplay the enemy champions, is really, really cool here, especially when you consider that neither Varus nor Evelyn can really stick onto Vayne and put damage onto her, so she's a bit safer in team fights.
So there's a Malphite here coming out for Gambit, which could end up in the middle lane. It wouldn't be the first time we've seen Alex play it. Dari may have that one in the top lane as well. One thing's true though for Darker, and I believe he's the only player that's actually played a champion into the double figures. This will be his 11th time that he's played Sona this season. That's Genja's fault, I'm assuming.
I mean, if it doesn't work, or if it isn't broke, don't fix it. Sona works very, very well, especially when you consider Gambit's playstyle. They're very aggressive. They want to crowd control and then have follow-up crowd control. So if Alex starts things out, or Darian starts things up, or even Diamond starts things up with the Malphite ult and the Evelynn ult, the flash crescendo comes in there as well. The team is locked up, and you just evaporate them with whatever damage you have left over. Sona is pretty much the best follow-up CC you can get from a support. And so that works so well for this comp, on top of the fact that if Candy Panda can't dodge an unstoppable force, he's going to have a really hard time dealing with Malphite. She's an attack speed-based AD carry more so than someone like, for example, Varus or Ezreal, who can get around using abilities for a little while, and so it really hurts having to fight a Malphite.
So, final picks here for SK Gaming, a Karthus for Ocelot, and a Renekton coming in here for Kevin. And I can't actually remember the last time I've seen Ocelot play Karthus.
Season 2 World Playoffs. He played him in the group stage.
That was a while away.
And was like, yeah, Karthus is not my type of champion. I can't play him. Tried to practice him for the Season 2 World Playoffs, or at least for the group stage at the very least, and then didn't have a very good performance on that champion anyway. Said, yeah, it's just not a champion that I can click with. He's normally an aggressive player, likes to fight things all the time, and then it just doesn't work out for him. So I want to see if he can bring it out. It's definitely a carry type mage to put out there, and it works well against Gambit's lineup because they're going to dive in, they're going to burst something out, but bursting out of Karthus doesn't really matter. He'll still put out damage, and that's a good setup for these guys, and it might just give enough room for Candy Panda to navigate. Now, the Renekton pickup as well is good because it's more cleanup potential. You can't AoE burst out of Renekton, so he gets to wreak havoc on the back lines.
And the final pick there for Gambit was the Zed for Alex Itch, a champion, which he loves these kind of champions. We've seen him on Zed a lot before. The Kha'Zix, these assassin-type champions is, I think, where Alex finds his fun as well, which is a big part of why he's so successful with them.
He's an incredibly good split pusher, and he's so good mechanically that he almost never misses minion kills. Alex typically has the highest farm, the highest minion score of any player on his team, usually in the game. And when you give him a heavily scaling assassin who can 1v1 anyone, he can 1v1 Ocelot, he can 1v1 Candy Panda, heck, he'll probably 1v1 Kevin at some point this game. It's very, very scary because you can remove one of those big threats and then use Darian and Diamond to remove the other and then clean up the team fight afterwards.
So we're going to get into this one. We've said it before, but we'll say it again because it's true. SK Gaming at the bottom of the table, they really need a victory here as well. I mean, picking up a win against a team with a name like Gambit and the position that Gambit hold right now in the league table would be monumental, I think, to their, not just to their position in the league, but to their mental state as well, for the confidence coming into this one. So we're going to find out here how this one goes in just a second. Looks like Ocelot just calling over one of the admins there, so we're going to have a little bit of maybe a pause at the start of this one, but we'll find out that in just a couple of moments here from this one. Looks like Hercubot's not actually connected into the game, and that'll be fixed here in just a moment. Ocelot just warming his hands up for this one, and well, it's warm enough for me, but his hand's not quite warm enough yet.
And I want to also point out what is at stake in this game right now, because we're a little bit over halfway into the season. We know the playoffs are coming in just a few weeks. It's a 9-week season. Now, granted, week 9 is a super week, so there's going to be 5 games per team at the very end there, but this is week 6. There's only so many games left for these guys, and so you always want to think about standings a little bit. Gambit, if they lose this one, they are tied with alternate first place. They no longer get sole control of first, and if SK wins, they're back in that 3-way tie with EG and MYM, and they can move on to tomorrow and try to get above them at the end right here. And again, even still, they're only a couple games behind that first, second, third, fourth. Basically, if SK win here, we're back to the standings that we had at the beginning of the week, where it's the tie for first, 1 game behind is 3 more, and then 2 games behind that is 3 more. So SK with a win here, go back. They're within 3 games of first place, and they can kind of reclaim that throne later on.
The great thing is we can't even make guesses when it comes to the Season 3 World Championships, because, well, quite frankly, who knows how this is going to end right now? It's switching around on a game-by-game basis. Wow, that was a quick switch over to Genja there. Almost fell off my chair when that one happened. But apparently, we are going to get things back underway. Hercubot is back in the game. So here we go then. SK Gaming versus Gambit in-game Free, level 1. We've got a hook for Nif. Are we going to see any action, though?
SK, it's interesting because SK pretty much can't get caught out here because they can brush check so well with Ocelot's Karthus here.
Yeah.
And because of that, I don't expect them to ever get caught unaware by anything Gambit throws at them. Gambit's crowd control is actually really, really meager at level 1. I can't see SK losing a level 1 fight without a severe misplay, but because they can brush check so well, they can force a lot of things. You're seeing Kevin here in the tri-brush trying to see if a ward comes down from Gambit so he can start things out. The rest of SK poised to follow up as well. I think SK will go for something, and Gambit probably won't trifle with them.
Well, we're going to find out here as SK all in the tri-bush. There's no ward down there at the bottom. Darian has... Oh, well, he's going to spot Kevin now as he starts to move up there, and there's the ping coming in. But does he know that there's more than Kevin in there? That's the question.
One so far. He only saw one, but he can assume there's more of an invade. He didn't want to get any closer because he didn't want to get like flash stunned into... Actually, I guess flash stun into a thrush hook might be enough to knock down Darian, so he has to be afraid. He has still not seen anyone else so far here, as of course the rest of SK is hiding in the brush. So honestly, a lack of information for Gambit right now. They don't know if SK's mind gaming them and going somewhere else.
Kevin actually is headed to the top side, and he may just show himself there to kind of give that game, or so to speak, give the game away, which obviously is not true, just to bait Gambit into thinking that that's going to be the case. That pink ward, they're going to allow him to take down that ward, and look at that. Darian having to back off, SK getting themselves over, they're going to take the blue.
They know the invade's coming because Karthus actually cued Darian right there, and he saw it come out, so he knows the leg waste came down there. Darian spots it, gets hooked though.
He gets hooked, but are they going to follow through? Well, Nif is, the rest of the team not quite on the same page from this one, and Nif is going to pop that shield and force him to back away. Diamond has done his red buff. They're looking to steal back the blue that they've just had stolen away themselves.
And of course, Darian as well is well equipped to sit in this 1v2 and survive. He opened Doran's shield. He got deep points in utility to grab the extra little biscuit right there for more regen. He's going to have points in defense for more reduced damage from champions. So we'll trade the buffs back and forth. It won't turn into much. Good reads by Gambit to know the invade was coming. And I feel like Darian, he got hooked again.
He did get hooked in this one, but he's not got the damage to get through. A Malphite starting out there with that Doran shield. It's going to force him to break through his pots, though, and make him very, very cautious about this lane. If caution is a thing that Darian has, he's a very entertaining player to watch on that front because I think he has a play style that we just don't see from any other players.
He's pretty hardcore. He's pretty reckless, he goes pretty ham, and the guy gets caught out sometimes. He actually opens up with a sight stun every once in a while just to help cover that play style a little bit. And then if it works out, and sometimes, unfortunately, he has a rough time of it. But here comes the interesting gank potential onto Alex.
Yeah, he's going to get slowed down there from that wall of pain. Gets knocked up here from Hercule, but are they going to dive under the turret? No, not at level 3. Not going to waste mess around with that one. Alex had his flash available as well, and they didn't know where Diamond was, which is going to be the big problem. Of course, you've seen Diamond earlier on in the spring split actually running a terrifying Evelyn that really caused problems.
Yes, but the thing that they can be safe about with Diamond is that unless they dive turrets or really over-aggress and get caught up by CC, Diamond by himself isn't that great of a fighter early on. Yeah, he's stealth, he can hide in, but like something like this won't do a ton of damage.
Darian pushed against the wall, flashing from Candy Panda. The burn from the Ignite is going to be enough, and it is the kill there for Nif, picking up first blood for SK Gaming, just what the doctor ordered.
Beautiful stuff right there. Pulling Ignite into a 2-on-1 lane allows you that extra kill potential right there. It's always a bait. Do you go exhaust, do you go Ignite? But Darker.
Darker's in a lot of trouble here. Knockup comes in. Hercubot's going to secure that one. Are they going to go for Genja? No, not quite yet. And there's a brilliant statistic from Nif. #1 kill participation in the EU LCS right now. Been involved in 80% of the kills that SK have brought down.
Well, the stat just went down because SK got a kill in the top lane that Nif wasn't there for. But what you saw right there was...
True story.
Yeah, I mean, technically Nif just got his stats hurt. Good job, SK. Way to hurt your teammates. But that's the difference between the junglers right here. Hercubot has a dash, a slow, and a knock-up by level 3. Even by level 2, heck, if he wants it. Whereas Diamond is invisible and throws damage at you. And so he can't turn around ganks very hard unless you dive a turret. That is always an important risk to consider.
Yeah, he can stick to you though, obviously getting that speed out from him, but it's definitely not the same as a knock-up and a slow. You can't compare that one for sure, so We'll see what Diamond can do when he tries to get involved. Alex Ich going for a second Doran's Blade. Ocelot opening up double cloth armor towards that Seeker's Arm Guard.
He knows that he's going to get harassed out by Alex Ich and wants to turn it into a farm lane. He can go tier, he can go Catalyst later on. Wants to make sure there's no all-in potential.
Oh, Darian getting hooked. He's going to get flayed back. Gets knocked not quite against the wall, so the stun didn't come out. Nif there, I'm not sure why he didn't flay him instantly, to be honest. I think they were expecting the Condemned to stun him up.
Yeah, I don't know if they could have aimed for a wall a little bit better right there, but yeah, I mean, I guess he wanted to maximize crowd control or something. Either way, they got as much damage as they could have. The flay didn't ultimately hurt them in any real way anyway. But that's kind of what you're seeing, though, is this lane matchup, despite Malphite having been well equipped for this setup. He's got a flask, he's got the Doran's shield, he's got masteries and runes and whatnot. It's still a really rough lane because the 2-on-1 fight worked so well. Flay, or Thresh Hook into Condemn into constant damage output works.
Alex going in here on towards Ocelot. He's going to get knocked up as Hercubot is there. Flash has been burnt all around as Diamond comes in. It's Alex, though, that is able to get that kill. The question is, how can they finish off? There's the flay back. Nif picks up his second. Diamond in all kinds of trouble. He gets knocked up from that one. There's a lantern to give Hercubot the shield. Flash is coming in. Can they finish this one off? He's a tough little sucker to get a hold of, and Hercubot goes underneath the turret. And in the end, Diamond's done enough to at least get one kill back from that.
And so Diamond's got a lot of gold for himself, opens up with an early Doran's Ring, gets a pink ward as well to set up for some of his other ganks. So Diamond will do pretty well in this game, but you've got to consider just how massive Nif and Hercubot are. Now Nif with 2 kills, early Philosopher's Stone, sitting on 750 gold, so he can get an early Sight Stone as well. It is a guy who's going to be very scary on Thresh. Very smart roam by Nif to consider getting into that fight.
Yeah, the timing on it was impeccable, to be honest. Right place at the right time. Right now, though, he has left, of course, Candy Panda down in this bottom lane on his own. Darker at level 4, Genja at level 5, so they've not got that big CC that they're going to be relying on to lock Candy Panda into place, although Genja probably not going to be far off from getting that chain of corruption. But look at this, Hercubot is coming to the bottom again.
Oh, almost lands the hook. That's not going to be anything here, so no kill picked up. But I gotta say, this lane swap here that Gambit has pulled is very, very smart. Diamond, I like getting the blue buff as well because he can farm out, get a bunch of gold, and snowball his gold lead. He's got Spirit Stone, he's got some extra AP from the Doran's Ring. He can scale up really hard and try to carry the mid game, but Gambit facing this bottom lane 2-on-2 should be a good matchup for Genja and Darker.
And look at that damage there that Alex has put out. Again, double Doran's Blade, as I said before, got a long sword in there as well. Seeker's Arm Guard is done for Ocelot, but he's taking big blasts of damage as a hook is going to land here on towards Darker. Flay actually not knocking him like they wanted, but Candy Panda got the damage now with that double Doran's Blade in there, and that's another kill coming down for SK. The danger is as well, once that Vayne starts picking up the kills later on, he's going to be a beast as Diamond steals away the blue. He also took his blue, don't forget, just before. Yes.
So he is massively counter-jungling Hercubot right now. You're seeing 36 to 26 in minion kills. That's incredibly good here for Diamond. Yeah, he's had one less gank to be a part of, but in general, he's going to still do very well. He's a very, very feared jungler in Europe for a good reason. Nif unfortunately made me a liar, landing a hook onto Sona. Okay, that'll get you some kills, so congrats on that one, but it is thing to be afraid of here.
Oh, Alex going in there. He's already used the shadow as he goes backwards on towards Ocelot here. Alex going very low, actually will be finished off. And the death mark not enough to finish off Ocelot, who right now he's got 1 kill to his name, that one there. The 2 assists as well, and it's just about survival and hoping that Hercubot's in the right place at the right time when that happens.
It's incredibly impressive, though. Hercubot has been part of 4 of his team's 6 kills right here. Him showing up to these battles, right, this early game lead that we normally see from SK Gaming, a lot of it comes down to the junglers being incredibly intelligent about where to go. So while Diamond has done a good job counter-jungling, he's not been able to force battles because that's just simply not something that Evelyn does.
Oh, Candy Panda going in here. There's the Condemn. Actually flashed away from it just at the right time there. And, well, I say at the right time. It's never really a right time to be using a flash if you're in that bottom lane at this point. But, no, staying alive, that's the important thing. No more kills for Candy Panda is the name of the game.
And Darker still does not have level 6. He's 5 barely. So no crescendo for another at least minute or so. And Hercubot, if he wants, can just show up that lane again, try to force the gank down, make Darker 0-3. It won't be hard. And look at him. He's at the bottom side.
Yeah, and the thing is, if he gets hooked, he's absolutely... There's no way he's going to get out of that because Thresh is level 6 now. As soon as the box goes down, he's got no flash. He's going to be a dead man from that. They need to just hope that Diamond is in the right place, as we do see him come around, but there's a pink ward in the brush. They'll spot him early.
Diamond does know he needs to counter-gank this. He assumes from the flash being down the low level of Sona that there's likely to be a gank around. But the fact that it hasn't happened yet makes him, well, maybe not so much. Maybe I'll go towards mid, maybe I'll look something else. But there's the catch!
There's the hook on towards Darker. There comes the Cardless ulti as well. And Ocelot picks up that kill at the end there. And again, just pure coordination. Hercubot even managed to get in there in the bottom. Didn't quite get himself an assist for it though.
But they have the numbers to try to push this turret down. Diamond has been forced to move over to try to hold on to the lane and wave clear, but they could even dive Diamond here.
Are they going to though? Let's see, red buff on Hercubot as well. That'll give him a bit more control as we see them start to work in there. There is Diamond being spotted. He's going to actually use his ultimate. Was knocked away with the condemn there from the hook, actually, from Hercubot. They're going to go in towards Diamond. He gets hit by the one wall of the box, but SK not wanting to risk this one. Now Alex Ich is coming down. They need to escape as quickly as possible. Candy Panda actually flashed over the wall there.
That was really well played by Diamond. Popped his ult down, slowed the team, said, look, if you start aggroing on me, I'm going to outrun you, you'll take turret aggro, and he put so much pressure on Nif. The rest of the team dived in. Candy Pan and Hercubot wanted the kill. They actually went on to Genja, who flashed away, and Diamond forced Nif out, said, oh shoot, now it's a 2v2 under turret, we can't do that anymore, and actually forced Candy Panda as well to flash over the wall.
Oh, Dragon has been started. Hercubot and Candy are coming around the side. Both junglers have the smite available, and I think wisely there, Gambit decide not to continue, although Alex Ich did start to come down. That's 2 pink wards actually put in position there from Gambit. Not quite sure that they wanted to really set that up, how it's gone. We can see that Alex winning in the CS now. It's only a 2 CS lead though. He's got that Vamp Scepter, so going straight up to the blade of the Ruined King.
And that makes him a very, very scary man to deal with because he'll just start one-shotting you. He's got some time to go until that is done, though, is the problem. So Alex is still a little bit weak. You can see the early arm guard rush there for Ocelot. Just wants the armor, going for an early catalyst, wants the health as well. And Ocelot is staying out of reach of Alex's kills. That's the thing to really consider right here, is that he just wants the farm fest and he's getting there. And he can just keep scaling, and then it's just a matter of now can they survive the late game assassination when that eventually happens.
Which, you know, he'll almost be not too bothered about because of the fact that he is Karthus, and a death in the middle of the team means that he's technically doing his job in there as well and bring the Requiem down at the right time. So we'll have to see where Alex is going. You'd have to imagine that Vayne is going to be the big primary target here, especially as we go later in. This time around, blue buff is going to be given over to Gambit. Obviously to Gambit, but to Alex.
I mean, both are correct, and we'll see if the second blue buff goes to Gambit as well. Last time it was stolen by Diamond, so there's of course a potential there. But the risky thing now for Gambit is they've not found any openings for a while, and you can't just rely on Zed to carry. He's typically not, in team fights at least, that hard of a carry, unless he can out-duel someone and force lopsided engagements where his team can win like a 4v3 because Zed pulls more than one champion over. You don't get to just force battles right here. So there's a long road ahead for Gambit Gaming if they want to pull this one out. They're still down almost 4,000 gold. Alex will keep trying to farm, and he'll do a pretty good job of this one, but if SK finds this mid-game stride where they actually force engagements, they're in a great place to close the game out.
Putting decent damage onto Alex there as well. And one thing I've just noticed, Genja has no tier right now. What is this madness, Freak?
I think he realized that tier Varus was a really silly build. We kind of theorized that he was building tiers for his lost support Edward, that he was, you know, unfortunately we lost one of our fellow men, but I think this time around he's happy with Darker's performance and also realized that really you just don't build tier on Varus.
Yeah, I think your analysis of that one may just be correct. I was talking to some of the pro players who shall remain nameless for this one, and they
any
didn't
AD carry
quite,
ever?
An AD carry it was, and they were just like, well, I don't really get it. He just likes to do it because why not? And you know they're winning games, so who are we to say anything about that one? Right now, Ocelot going to be getting a blue buff here if he doesn't keep resetting it and then run out of mana and have to auto attack it all day long.
That's threatening.
Yeah.
Auto attack Karthus is
dangerous times. There we go. Gets himself the blue buff finally. And right now, he's not too bad in terms of the farm, and he's not allowed Alex to get those kills. So in a way, he's really been doing his job nicely here. Almost got that Rod of Ages now finished up as we see Diamond sneaking in towards Kevin in the top lane. He's got that Sunfire Cape already. Only got those tier 1 boots, as does Darien and Diamond. But if those ultis come down on top of each other, it could be very, very dangerous here for Kevin.
The thing is gonna really be, can Kevin land the first part of Slice and Dice onto Darien to get a second dash? If he can, he'll build enough space to get back to his turret and probably survive, but if the positioning is good enough for Gambit, they can take him down.
Oh, you see, bit of damage being exchanged here. Kevin, he's going to be going into this one. Here we go. Ultimate comes out from Diamond. Are you going to see him put down the unstoppable force from this one? He's holding on, and there is the flash away. Darien's right underneath the turret. Where is the unstoppable force? Not really doing as much as he wants to. And here comes Ocelot from this one. He's going to get himself 2 kills there. Evelyn was underneath the turret. And incredible stuff there. I can't believe that just happened.
He flashed it.
He flashed it. I didn't even notice that he'd done that. It was too fast for my eyes even. And then Ocelot turning things around for a double kill at the end. Fantastic. Brilliant. Amazing.
Absolutely phenomenal. You can't throw enough superlatives at the play right there from Kevin. He couldn't get the second dash, which meant that he was definitely available to be unstoppable force, but he basically mind gamed it. He said, all right, Darien's gonna go for it when the slow wears off. Now, and just they moved equal distances, got far enough away, used the empowered stun actually to manage to lock Darien under the turret and said, look, you didn't finish your Sunfire Cape yet, you didn't eat your Rita's this morning, you're not tanky enough to deal with the turret. And then the Karthus ult came down. It was absolutely beautiful, and of course with the power play, they got the bottom lane, they got the dragon. Can't say enough nice things about SK there.
And that's the thing, we were talking about Ocelot, plodding along in that middle lane. Little bit behind in farm, not really anything to talk about in kills. Presses are at the right time, and now all of a sudden he's going to have that Rod of Ages. I'm guessing he's on quite a good chunk of gold
2K.
here right now. 2k gold, as actually is both Candy Panda and Nif. So they've got a lot of power to go home and be picking up here in just a little while.
Yeah, so basically the matchup that Ocelot wanted was one that was just sit there and farm. Sure, Alex Itch built a little bit of a minion kill lead because he's just that good. He kept pushing Ocelot to his turret the entire time. And when you get pushed to your turret the entire lane, you'll miss a couple of minions once in a while. It just will happen. But Ocelot can help his other lanes by pressing R. Alex Itch can't do that. He can't even help his own lane by pressing R because of the early armor picked up by Ocelot. So despite a minor minion kill deficit, he's had more impact on the map, which you saw right there in the top lane.
And there's Diamond. He's going to be coming straight through a ward, and Kevin spots that one happening, and he's not going to fall for anything this time. Or maybe he's trying to lure him in for those 2 kills again, as we see the wall of pain going down on towards Alex. The exhaust is down here as well. He's going to put the pressure down, and he might be able to turn it around here on towards Hercule, but Darker manages to secure the kill. And then in similar fashion to that top lane, the kill turnaround right under the turret coming out of Gambit.
Great Gershona picked up there, and the unfortunate whiff by Hercule on the ulti did not give him any bonus armor or MR, and when you don't get any of the bonus stats there, it really removes the core tankiness of Sin Zhao, and the turret just brought him down. So it's a good turn right there. The Sona counter engage, actually I believe flashed for it as well, just did everything he could to keep his teammate alive, and Alex with an assist, it's kind of nice.
So SK looking at getting turret number 2 as they manage to land the hook onto Diamond. Not going to go under the turret for it. Diamond does have his ultimate available as Candy goes flying back on the Dark Passage, and they'll be safe for now.
And I want to point out what Candy Panda has done is, after Blade of the Ruin King, he rushed a Negatron Cloak. He's trying to get away from the burst combo of Diamond and Darien, and potentially even the Quicksilver Sash to drop out the heavy crowd control this Gambit team has. It's interesting because he's kind of sacrificing potential damage output to do this, but considering how rough of a lane Genja and Darker have had, he's still keeping up pretty well.
So Kevin in the top lane, he's got pink wards all around him. Don't think that he knows that Diamond's there, or he could be just baiting him out. I'm not sure if he walked over one of those pink wards earlier on, as Diamond there will get spotted. So they know that the Evelyn is inside of the brush, and he just said, oh look, Hercubot's here. They were trying to lure us in for that one.
And that would have been such a good counter gank as well, because the crowd control was there, and even without flash available for the SK top laner, it just would have been enough for them. So SK though, they're trying to find their footing at the very least in pushing together the mid game right here. 19 minutes in, this is the time that SK normally has a rough time really making things happen, and they're slowly pushing turrets in. They're keeping the gold lead at 4,000, but you've got to be careful of Gambit potentially turning things around with their hardcore engage composition.
And there we go, Ocelot getting Wall of Pain down on towards Genji, who's doing his best to dodge those lay waste right now. They certainly do hurt already. Needs the large rod added in onto the top of that Rod of Ages already. Plus that bit of AP from the Seeker's Arm Guard as well, we should not forget. And there is Kevin clearing out another wall. So now Diamond finally realizes why he's been so obviously there this entire time, because he had one not only in that top bush, but in the tri-bush as well.
There's been a pretty heavy investment of pink wards by SK Gaming. That is one thing to consider as well, that even though you're seeing this 4,000 gold lead, don't forget how many pink wards these guys have actually bought so far.
Yeah.
Now, some of that got helped because NiF did go early Philosopher's Stone. He can afford more of these pink wards overall, but part of that gold lead will start to diminish because the only reason Diamond hasn't gotten more ganks is because of the early gold investment on Vision wards.
Yeah, really working out a bit of a long-term investment. If you look down SK, you can see that they've got 3 pink wards on them, and I think that was the second one just being picked up there as well by NiF. And as I say that, another 2 pop up as well. They're buying loads of pink wards. I think they're going to be sold out at some point during this game. Hercubot comes down to cover this bottom turret. Alex actually going at him under the turret here. That death mark coming in, and Alex going to pick up the kill, and right there is the danger of Zed.
Even though he hasn't been in a lot of battles, he was able to free farm 213 minutes, 421 minutes, and when you've got rank 2 death mark, you've got Blade of the Ruin King and a Brutalizer, that is enough to kill someone who hasn't bought much armor. Sure, Hercubot does have a Ninja Tabby now, he's got some stuff, but when you combine all the damage that Alex gets to put out there at level 14, it's too much for him.
And there we see Diamond diving in on towards Ocelot. Exhaust goes down. Ocelot going to try and follow in through this one. He does have Requiem available. Diamond, though, pops his W and speeds off into the night. And Ocelot, no, didn't get him low enough really there to pop the Requiem and get him the kill. Well, I'm saying that with that Zhonya's in there as well. He's going to be putting down a lot of damage with that by now.
Yeah, the goal for this entire SK team is to not die to Alex Ich. While it's not a conventional armor item, Candy Panda can remove Death Mark with his Quicksilver Sash. It'll also remove the slow from the Blade of the Ruin King and the slow from his Shadow Slash. So he has, I think, enough durability to survive Alex Ich because of the QSS. Also, of course, with the Zhonyas, we'll be able to do that as well. And if they get into a team fight, the rest of SK is durable enough as well. They still are the stronger team on the map, so they get to keep controlling Baron, or Dragon, I should say, but they still need to get some actual turrets because they're equal on that front.
Equal on that front, but this was the second Dragon, of course, for SK. They have 3,700 gold. Now, we've talked about this one before here, the whole SK having problems at closing it out games. It's been a recurring theme for them. This time around, though, got that Karthus in, who, as long as the game goes on, he's just going to be building up more and more and more damage. Vayne is a similar scenario. I mean, they've got a great composition when it comes to that late game.
Yeah, it's this interesting stopgap solution where they identified the problem and they're trying to hedge their bets just with champion picks. They still don't know the play style properly. This isn't like a, I'm trying to think of like, Lemon Dogs of old or old CLGEU where they're just like, yeah, we really don't want to push. We just know we will win at 65 minutes in. That's not really SK's thought process. However, Candy Panda, he's super surrounded.
He's going to have Evelyn coming in. There's Alex Ich going to go into him. The Condemn coming down. Blade of the Ruin King going to be using good damage coming out of Candy Panda, but here comes Diamond. He's going to chase off Alex Ich. Is he going to die to this one? His timing was perfectly there between the Requiem. He got invulnerable for that split second. What timing coming out, and that will be a 2-for-1, where all right, Alex should be a dead man. That is sick.
That was beautiful. That was absolutely amazing by Alex Ich. Amazing, amazing stuff. I got to hand it to Candy Panda as well for being surrounded and still turning something around and almost setting up the kill, but man, I mean, impressive, impressive, impressive. So SK Gaming, unfortunately, they're letting the game start leaking. They're letting the game start leak away. They finally equalized back on turrets, but they were the winning team. They were down 2-1 on turrets a minute ago. They're losing 2-for-1 engagements. They're starting to slip the champion kill lead. This is a very risky proposition for SK Gaming. What will they actually do to push ahead? Because there's Darien. Oh, look, another outer turret's going down. Gambit again with a turret lead.
Here comes Ocelot. Let's see what he can actually do to Darien, who is just going to be dodging for a little while. And Ocelot realizing that Probably can't kill him from that one. He had unstoppable force available if he really needed to get away. Flash was up as well, so probably no way that he was going to actually kill Darian in that one, who got that Sunfire Cape, picked himself up a second Giant's Belt from this one. We're going to be seeing Zonya's coming out for Diamond as well. He's got a Seeker's Arm Guard in, got his Haunting Guy as well. There's a Hex Drinker finish now as well for Alex Ich.
Yeah, he realizes that as he dives in, Ocelot will be doing a lot of damage to him, and he wants to survive that initial engagement and get out after assassinating. It's very efficient durability for him. It adds basically 250 health. It adds a good amount of magic resist and still improves his damage, so he can finally try to outscale the health from the Rod of Ages and the armor from the Zonya's Hourglass.
Oh, this could be dangerous for him, though. They know that he's going to be here from this one as Wall of Pain goes down. He's going to be in all kinds of trouble from this. There are 4 men there from SK Gaming. Hercubot in the end picks up the kill, and that's all about vision there.
And they could potentially risk a Baron once they realize Darren's the bottom lane. They should know he had teleported for this one. And melting down Baron with a blue buff Karthus and with a Vayne is a real possibility.
Well, let's see what they go for here. Blue buff is going to go to Ocelot. Genja in the mid lane. It looks like they're not going to go for this one, you know. Karthus just backing away along with Hercubot Sin Shout. Gambit in the meantime starting to push this middle lane out once again. Of course, that mid outer turret is down already. It's Kevin and Darian pretty much just butt heads in this bottom lane.
These are really just immovable objects and unstoppable forces in this lane. These guys are not going to fall over. You've got so much armor from Darian that he just won't get scratched by Kevin. And Kevin having the Warmogs as well as the Cold and Meek heal, he's just going to outreach on anything. These guys will farm for a while. Only if a jungler, maybe someone else on top of that shows up, will these guys die.
Well, Diamond is headed down right now. There's no pink wards to keep Kevin safe. But Diamond still feels a bit worried as Kevin backs away. I think he thought, okay, has he got vision here? He's done this to me before, but that major signaling here as Kevin actually does go into that one.
Alex Ich, can he outplay this one too?
Here we go, Vayne coming in, condemns him back. Here comes Hercubot, Deathmark going down onto Candy Panda. Alex Ich actually forced to flash away from this one. The Requiem came down, but wasn't quite as well coordinated as SK would have hoped for in that one.
Ultimately, it was not too hard for him to escape from Hercubot, who just didn't have a flash as well. So as soon as the dash is used, he can W clone out, flash away, and just be out of range. There's not enough crowd control here for the SK lineup to force that down. The only thing they missed, though, was Candy Panda did not use Blade of the Ruin King to slow down Alex. I don't know if it would have been enough, though.
Throws the lantern down on top of Alex, so took a little bit of time to actually realize what was happening there. He's like, what's that? Oh, it's a lantern from Thresh. Okay, I'm going to walk away from that. But this inner turret in the top lane is going to be taken here by SK. That puts us back to 3-3 in turrets.
And the thing is, I don't know if... See, here's why I don't think Nif realized it, because lanterns are known to cast shadows, and he didn't know if that was really Zed or not. That was lame.
Didn't know whether to laugh or cry there.
Probably cry. That was horrible.
So Gambit here was getting a few wards down on that top side of the jungle. Want to make sure that Byron is going to be clear, but there's a pink down. He's going to lose that one, but the pink of his own will clear out the one on that curve push there on the side. Candy Panda on the top lane had previously pushed that one out. Darian now pushing that one back in, and we're at the half an hour point of this game. It's, you know, 3,500 gold that separates them, so it's not even that much at this point. You know, a dragon and a turret for Gambit, and it's back in their favor.
Exactly, and the thing is, it's so good for SK that they are continuing to control the dragon, that they have remained the stronger team on the map, because even if they lose a fight every once in a while or slightly screw up a battle, the fact that they're getting 1,000 gold every 6 minutes and timing it and jumping on it every time it respawns. I want to just compare, Dragon went down at exactly 22 minutes, they went down at 28-22. It was alive for 22 seconds. 22 seconds, and now here comes the other fight in mid though.
Diamond actually going in for that one. You can see the speed of him. He's going to flash away from this one as Candy Panda going to try and come around the side, but it's a trap. Zed's waiting there in the brushes, and Kevin here pushing up on towards Darian, who's just used the active on that random in zone. As he starts to go in towards Candy Panda, he's going to stun up Alex Ich. There is a lantern. He goes flying back. Now Alex has to flash away from that one. Meanwhile, Diamond going down, Darker going down. Darian's caught inside the box. He's a dead man as well, or is he? He flashes away there, but Kevin's chasing chasing him. That's a double kill for the Crocodile.
And that's what happens when you've got a hardcore dive comp that tries to chase an AD carry and you pick a Renekton. He gets to run around in the back line and wreak havoc. Who's gonna stop Kevin on Renekton with 265 minion kills when your Zed and your Evelyn and your Malphite all ran in there trying to kill someone else? Absolutely great play right there. The cleanup potential was right on for SK Gaming. Their team composition works very well against the Zed.
And we talked about, a good fight and a dragon, and it could be all even once again. Look how it just swung with that one. Now a 5,000 gold lead after picking up the dragon and a couple of kills straight away afterwards. So SK really are in the driving seat for this one. Just whether they can actually drive it over the finish line, as they are going to get the hook here on towards LCCS. Hercubot going to come, press it. Right.
There we go.
A little bit slow to react to that one there. Requiem is not going to finish off Alex. He actually dodged it again there, but he's going to die anyway. Darker's going to die. Now Darian's right in there on top of them. Let's see if we can actually finish off Ocelot with this one. Should be able to now that Diamond's actually coming across from this one. And there is the finisher shut down as well for Diamond.
Yeah, Zonia's was down from the last fight right there. The cooldown 80% of the way back up, but the turnaround happened. So a 2 for 2. And I got to point out that Nif got both of those kills. He's getting a lot of the farm here on Thresh, sitting on 2,000 gold right now. So he can pick up like a Shirelius for his team, or actually in this case he goes Locket of Iron Solari, which is good because it'll actually block some of the initial burst from Gambit, as persistent damage is kind of the weakness of that lineup. But you'd still almost prefer that you've just got a tankier Xin Zhao who can dive into fights better, have lower cooldowns for that. So, he's putting it to use, but you kind of prefer the gold with somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, that Shirelius, if they went in for that, Ocelot in the top of them, Hercubot and Kevin all in the middle of the team is what they ideally want from this one, but that's his choice from this one, and we'll see how that affects his team fights later on. If we look at the AD carries right now, Blade of the Ruin King, Phantom Dancer, and that Quicksilver Sash here for Vayne, compare that over to BF Sword with the Bloodthirster and a Last Whisper for Genja.
Yeah, so the build is getting there really for this Varus. The piercing arrow, the sniping potential is absolutely there. He's doing the burst build, the burst Varus build, which we've seen a lot more in recent history there. Less Blade of the Ruin King, more Bloodthirster, bursting people out, which again works with his team composition for Gambit. They want to get in there, drop someone in 1 second flat, and then just try to follow up with whatever damage they have left over. Problem is, they get that so rarely, especially when you consider Zhonya's double runic bulwark, Candy Panda tumbling invisibility, Quicksilver sashing away CCs and death marks. It's hard for them to drop members of SK.
And if they're just throwing that lantern, which basically plonked Darker on the head as he went over the top, and now LCCS actually coming down on towards Kevin. The question is, can he kill him? Probably not at this stage with that Warmog, Sunflare Cape, and a Runic Bulwark on top of it.
Kevin's too big, and it's a really smart choice to use him there. Ocelot's in rough shape, though.
Yeah, he's in rough shape from this one. Actually, will use the Zhonya's there to avoid the piercing arrow, and that's got him away from this one. Candy Panda actually condemning him back, which I'm not sure Hercubot will be too happy about. He probably thought he could go for that one, as Alex has thrown everything there at Kevin in this bottom lane. He's going to have to recall, but he's crucially not dead. Diamond here just waiting in the wings, but needs to be a little bit careful with that as well.
And the thing is, Kevin burned nothing for that. Alex ulted and ignited and used Blade of the Ruin King, and Kevin walked away and sat at 1/3 health. So no, Alex cannot 1v1 him, but he can chunk Kevin a little bit low. So Kevin's like, great, I'll add more armor. He gets a cloth armor that's probably going towards Randu and Zoman. He'll be even more difficult to deal with. And curiously enough, that even though his only offensive item is Sunfire Cape, it's enough to have Kevin be threatening in the back line. He's outscaled Genja. Genja, who's not getting critical strike, who's not getting attack speed, does not have a good way of dealing with bruisers. That's the real big weakness here of this build that Genja always does, where he never buys crit or attack speed. It's so hard for him to kill Kevin.
So I have to ask you this question right now, because this is what we're seeing from SK Gaming. They've had this goal lead for a while, but what have they done with it?
Kept it. They've kept it. They've made a little bit of headway on turrets. They're up to 4. They're pushing forward. And the thing to remember is they do technically outscale. So as long as they don't make any mistakes, their 6-item team fight is better.
Mistakes like this, as Nif going to get caught out from this one. Oslo actually coming around the back there, as we are going to see the unstoppable force coming down on towards Oslo. He's in all kinds of trouble, has to use his Zhonyas. That'll save him from a little bit of damage, but Alex Ich will finish that one off as Kevin now diving in there. Requiem going to come down. Diamond's at half HP. He will Zhonya's away from that one. Alex going half back into the fight. Here comes Candy Panda from the side, though. Barrier used by Genja. Candy Panda's not being focused fast enough here. They're going to clean house. It's a double kill for Kevin, a triple kill for Kevin. Can they finish off here onto Darian? They almost certainly can, as a knockup comes down. Darian running for dear life. He's going to get finished off. It's the ace from SK Gaming. Just as I said, what have they done with it? Nif got caught out of position, and SK turned it around.
And that's what happens when you run multiple threats on a team. Gambit spent so much effort getting rid of Ocelot, and he's like, if you're going to kill anyone on the team, it might as well be Karthus if you're an SK fan right here. Candy Panda came in from the side heroically, threw 4 people of the enemy team. I literally was like 1v4ing at a certain point there, and Kevin was too big to deal with, just wore them down with his Sunfire Cape. On Fire Crocodiles are hard to deal with. SK, the late game team fight is theirs.
Yep, and they're going to go home with another big bunch of cash to spend. Let's have a look at that one. 2,000 for Candy Panda, 1,000 for Kevin, 1,000 for Nif, who's now 4-1-11. Incredible scoreline coming out. And if, as we said earlier on, maybe should have been going to other people, but they got the kills, and that's the important thing, I suppose we can say here. And it's allowed him to pick up more items. I mean, compare him over with the support on the other side there with Darker, and those boots and mobility in there. Darker going for the Ninja Tabi, which not that big a thing, got enchantment on them as well. But that Locket of the Iron Slurry, just that alone, we saw it used actually, crucially, when Nif and Ocelot were pretty much caught out. He used that Locket a little bit earlier on, and that saved a lot of damage onto them. Yeah, and actually, most importantly, he's also been able to wear Oracles for a while. I want to share a random statistic. The Philosopher's Stone Gold accrued 936 for Nif versus 26 just now picked up for Darker. So Nif actually snowballed part of his early game lead by getting the early GP10, and it's enough money now, right? 900 something gold to afford him a lot of those pink wards and a number of Oracle's elixirs. Now his is just timed out, so he's got to get a new one once he gets enough money for it, which he does have if he needs. But because he's got so much money, he's able to play the ward sweep game a lot better, blind Gambit a little bit more, and allow his team to find more engagements in the darkness. So SK, again, they've got Baron on here, but you can see they're not making a big push in any one area. They're looking for those catches. They're looking to pick someone out. And I think that the thought behind this is that SK are going to continue to scale up, continue to get item after item, and at some point they'll be able to crack Gambit. That's a dangerous game at the same time, though. It's difficult. Gambit knows how to play stretched out games. I mean, consider their biggest opponent during Season 2 was CLG EU, who had to learn it. They had to learn it, right? And they went about it by buying a bunch of Guardian Angels and just turret diving. But the problem is they're doing this one without a gold lead. Normally it's like, well, we got ahead, but we can't kill your base, so we'll buy GAs and do it anyway. This time, they've got to hold on to this one, channel their inner CLG EU, and turtle out until they can get a little bit more of an equal standing. Problem is, with SK holding Baron, they can siege this pretty easily. Yeah, and those minions going to come in for this one. Are Gambit going to give this one up? They're not a team that likes to give anything up, actually. You'll never see them surrendering. And they are still hanging around for this one. Candy Panda getting up close, tanks a hit or two from the turret. And they wait for more minion waves to come in. This is going to be a real test of SK's character. The finisher of this game and how they manage to do it is Candy Panda taking another couple of big hits there. And that will probably scare him off for a while. Yep, he's going off. He's going to try and heal from the wolves. He'll be able to do that pretty easily right here. He's got enough attack damage to get most of his full health bar back. But here comes the engage 5v4. Yeah, 5v4. This could be dangerous. Diamond actually going into that one. Yeah, 4v4 because Darian is up in that top lane. Now it'll be a 5v4 as Candy Panda comes back into it. There is the teleport on Darian, don't forget, as Candy Panda just tanks up the turret, dodges the piercing arrow. If he can do that, they're going to have this turret away within the next, maybe the next wave even, or certainly the one that will come through after that one. If they don't dive in this wave, they're going to have to give it the turret. You're seeing them walk back. The wall of pain is there. Does Darian start this? No. No, he's going to try and back away. Kevin might start it, though. Hercubot coming in as well. Randuin was used there by Darian, and that stops them chasing in for now, but this is fine for SK Game. If they make baby steps like this, at some point, they're going to win the game. At some point, they'll get all the way across the finish line with those steps, and of course,
Gambit have bought enough time to bring the Baron buff down to 10-15 seconds remaining, so they managed to hold on to one tier 2 turret. The mid lane tier 2 turret is still alive right here, so Gambit at least hold on to that one despite losing Baron, despite losing a couple team fights, so they do control the map still decently. Yes, they're behind, but they seem to know how to play from behind pretty well. They've got the potential to, again, just get catches. Their team are so good at hardcore engaging fights that they can always make that happen. And don't forget that Alex is still a very good duelist. With the Hex Drinker, with a bunch of armor pen in his build, he can burst someone out. If he gets the split pushing, he'll require a lot of effort to get rid of.
We've just seen a couple of pickups coming in here. Giant's Belt now added in. Headed up towards the Randuins is Kevin. And at that point, with that Warmogs and that Sunfire cape in there, he becomes a very difficult target for Alex, for Genja, to really be bursting down from that front. So, with the Elixir coming in as well for Ocelot. So, that's going to indicate that they might want to get involved here soon, as Alex just dodging away for Candy Panda. He doesn't want to fight head-to-head with him now.
And the Quicksilver Sash seems to be enough to tip the favor towards Candy Panda. Didn't go extra armor or health, but said, look, if I remove Deathmark, I know I can outduel you just with my lifesteal and Blade of the Ruin King cutting and invisibility. I can just drop all your damage output there. So the fact that Candy Panda, at least in Alex's opinion, wins that 1v1 really tips things in their favor, because they don't get those free split push engages anymore.
Oh, there's the hook, almost grabbing Diamond. He was running perfect angle, but didn't quite have the range on the hook. Now we see Candy Panda headed up from the bottom side, and that was Gambit's push-out play to try and get some walls down and get a bit of control back of this jungle.
So they've got a little bit of vision here, but the problem is Nif is still happily wearing the Oracles, and he's got another 4 minutes left on it so far, or 3 to 4 minutes left on it so far. So, yeah, Gambit got some ward control right there, and that's fine, but it'll go away as soon as SK turns aggressive again.
So, with Candy Panda down on that bottom lane, Gambit, will they try and force something here? Are they going to go for this inner turret? They've not got Genja there with them, who would certainly help out when it comes to taking down turrets, and for now they're just happy to push out those lanes even further, just to keep SK as much as possible on their side of the map from this one.
And that's smart by them, because with Baron down, you still have to be aware and respectful of Gambit's composition, because it's a very, very good team fight comp. And anytime they spot Candy Panda actually in a side lane split pushing, that's an opening for Gambit to go for a hardcore engage. If Genja were actually with the team, they could have forced that 5v4. If you weren't there grabbing the blue buff, they could have just jumped onto someone. Hercubot, Ocelot, doesn't even matter. Candy Panda would have been 25 seconds away, and it's enough to burst someone out. And with Baron up that close, getting one kill is enough to control that and potentially swing the game around.
The red buff pickup coming in. We're going to see a bit of a battle for the pink wards there, as Nif actually catching Darian here, and they might actually go for him. The box goes down, Crescendo comes across, Hercubot though is on towards Darker, he flashes away, and look at that, Darian using the unstoppable force to get away, but he's going to be finished off by Ocelot, and this surely opens the floodgates up now to SK Gaming. They've got 2 of them down. Alex Ich is going to be in trouble. He's forced to flash away from that one as Candy Panda gets locked up, hit with a piercing arrow, but this should be a turret coming in there as the chain of corruption spreading through the SK team. They've got 2 kills, but they're very, very low from this one. That shield helping out. Alex and Diamond actually chasing in, as Alex is going to go right on top of them, but SK turn around. Loads of damage coming out there. Alex is going to go down. Now they can maybe get in onto Diamond. Here comes a Requiem. That'll be enough to finish off Diamond. If he didn't, Zhonya's are the perfect time for him. Only a matter of time before he does go down, though, and SK should now be able to take the turret with only Genja left alive.
And that all came from Nif landing a hook, protecting his own ward. That's one thing you can do with these long-range, high-potential supports, is you guard your own ward. Say, if you sweep this, I'm going to grab you here. I dare you to kill my ward off. Lands the Q, throws the lantern back, gets his team in there, forces the unstoppable force away. Doesn't matter, the team flashes through. All from Nif making that happen. They've got the damage output that if they can force the engage, right? If they can actually make these battles start, they're in great shape.
Oh, Darian actually, he's right back in there. He's teleported onto the ward, and, well, I'm not sure that he's going to be able to survive this one either. I mean, he's pretty damn tanky. It took 5 of them to take him down. Hercubot being hit there by the piercing arrow, but they do see a target, so the likes of Darker and Genja, and Darker going to get absolutely shredded. Darian's a dead man for the 2nd time in as many minutes from that one as he respawns back in. Baron is available, but look at that, SK Gaming, no risks.
I'm very surprised they're not going for that because the jungler is dead and Hercubot could have gotten there for the smite. You know, whatever, I trust them. They certainly don't want to risk this game away. Sure, it's a little weird, but honestly, this was the thing that Ocelot was talking about in the morning. I was talking to him at breakfast, and he says, look, when Dragon's not up, when buffs aren't up, we don't quite know how to force battles because they're 5-6 minutes apart, and people don't always contest them. We can't just take blue buff 7 times. That doesn't win you a game. But baiting off of wards, baiting off of engagements in the jungle, teleporting in, starting things like that, that's the types of things SK was looking for. Now with the whole team there, seeing Alex at split push, they're like, all right, now we get Baron.
Yeah, that Baron taken down very quickly. And that's all. It's about safety at this point for SK Gaming. There's no prizes for finishing a game that you're ahead of in 30 minutes. You win exactly the same as if it takes you 120. So, no, why not be safe? Better safe than sorry. But we have to point out as well that there are risks involved with doing it that way. If
you take too long, in a 90-minute game here, the gold lead goes away and everyone has the same number of items and essentially or effectively the same amount of gold. Candy Panda has almost nowhere to go from this point. He has Guardian Angel. He can finish the Quicksilver Sash into Mercurial Scimitar. It will give him some more damage, but he's basically peaked at this point. Ocelot, same situation, has half an item to go, has basically peaked at this point. Hercubot's got a little bit more room to go. Kevin's got a little bit more room to go, but basically they've stopped scaling at this point, whereas Gambit, Genja's got another full item slot on an 80 carry. Darien still has another full item slot as well. Gambit's going to keep moving up, so SK needs to push this in.
Yeah, 2 Guardian Angels to 1 is the count right now. Obviously, Genja and Alex Ich going in for them. SK right now, though, are pushing through onto the inhib turret, and Gambit are not in a position to defend this one. They're actually flanking around from the side here. They may decide to go in for it, or will they? Nope, they go straight back to defend the turret. Candy Panda's pushing bottom.
This is risky because there's 2.5 minutes left on Baron. I don't think they can weather the storm long enough without losing an inhibitor turret, but it's, do we engage against Baron buff, or do we risk losing a turret and losing the inhibitor later even without it? It's a huge risk for Gambit either way.
Well, they are going to be able to take that one down as Darien going to get caught here, but look how tanky he is from that one. Here comes Diamond from the side. Crescendo is a beautiful one. He goes on to 3 of them. Darker going very, very low. Diamond going to be forced to use that Zhonya's Hourglass, and as he comes up, Candy Panda rips him to pieces. They're falling here. There's 3 men down to the no kill so far for Gambit. That inhibitor is dead, and they're going to go onto the bottom side, take the turret, and take inhibitor number 2 as well.
This is likely going to be enough for SK Gaming. They've got minions flooding into the base. They're trying to get the catch. They get the stun on Alex.
Wow, massive damage coming in there from Candy Panda as well. There's Guardian Angel still up for Alex and for Candy Panda here, as we are going to see Genja trying to piercing arrow them down from that. Those 2 GAs still alive, as we are going to see him going on towards Candy Panda. He gets knocked straight back away. GA still not popped, but SK are going in on towards the Nexus turrets. The first one already gone. The second one doesn't stand a chance. Alex trying his best to come over from the side, but SK focusing down the Nexus. They're going to take out Gambit here in front of Ocelot's home crowd, and you can see exactly what it means to him.
It means a heck of a lot to Ocelot right there, and the rest of SK Gaming. Smiles on their faces, hugs as well. And the Spaniards go 4-0 today. Yeah. Complete turnaround from yesterday. It seems that it takes them a little bit, but once they get there, the home crowd makes these guys play amazing.
You see a crowd on their feet from this one as Ocelot and SK Gaming go out onto the stage there. And they can feel proud because that's a win against the top team right now in the European LCS. And, well, Gambit, they've been looking very, very good in that one. SK managing to get in there. It took them a while to finish off the game in, we're not going to almost say in true SK style by now, but key point is the victory.
That is the key point. They hedged their bets with champion select. They said, all right, yeah, we're having a bit of a rough time figuring it out and closing the game out. You saw the turrets went down slowly, but they said, look, Vayne, Karthus, late game picks, that's going to do it for us. Nif and Hercubot carried the early game with their gangster, their skill shots, and the champion scaling carried it from there.
Just want to point out before we go to the analysis that Nif got the most kills in the game with 8-1-15 by the end of it. That's what you call a carry support. Fresh all the way for Nif. So let's head over to Demon and Jason to break down that fantastic matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. Nif was definitely off the hook in that game. Played fantastically well, set up so many kills early on, and really got the ball rolling for SK Gaming.
Hey, I really want to say, all those kills that did end up going over to Nif, it wasn't used, or it was used perfectly. Because the thing was, you're against an Evelyn jungler. He had so many pink wards throughout the entire game. There's actually one pink ward in the enemy jungle towards the end part of the game where they saw that Diamond was trying to flank over and over, and it just paid off. I mean, yeah, he was getting the kills, but it didn't matter. He was making such good use out of it.
But what games we've had today, honestly. It's such a turnaround from yesterday. Freak just mentioned it. All 4 Spaniards winning now. Bottom beaten top yet again. That's the second time SK have done that. They beat Alternate last time they were top of the league. Now they beat Gambit, they're the top of the league. And it draws the whole league all closer once again. We said at the start of the show with the standings just how close it all was. Everything's got even closer today.
Yeah, you mentioned it earlier about how people consider North America like a little bit more stretched out because of Cloud9 being so high, but now Europe, I mean, if you consistently have the bottom being top of the table over and over, and you have all these teams this close together, that shows how good each team is and how close they really are in skill.
We're at week 6 right now. There's only 9 weeks in the season, the last one being a super week. There is so much up for grabs between these teams. It's getting scary between them, honestly. And you just can't put your finger on any team particularly going, they're absolutely going to the World Finals.
Yeah, exactly. And we look at it in terms of in preparation of the playoffs and Season 4, like, which of these teams would you not expect to be in the playoffs? Because looking at all of them, they all have the skill to do it. It's just about how much preparation they're doing for each game, how many wins they can pick up before that crucial point.
So let's talk about this game, the second epic game that Joe and Freak have had. I'm not jealous about that in any way, shape or form. Just a little bit. Fantastic match, around about 40 kills once again. Following, we saw Alternate versus EG, and we were like, God, I don't think they can follow that one. But sure enough, they did, and it was another fantastic game. Take us through the replay though, because some of the team fights that they had were magnificent. There was just kill left, right, and center.
Yeah, there really was. So the first replay we're going to look at, it's 28.5 minutes in. SK is up 11-7 in kills and 45.5 thousand gold to 41.5 thousand gold. So let's get the replay on your screen, kind of show you exactly what happens here, because this is right off the back of a dragon that SK just took here. And we're going to go through this a little bit slowly because you're going to see Diamond. He's going to get a decent engage, but I want you to pay attention to Ocelot throughout the entirety of this replay because his positioning on Karthus was so damn good. You're going to see it here come in eventually. He's actually going to block off this entire region, and because of that, it's actually going to force Gambit to be completely split out. They're going to end up picking up the kills here. As you see, it's going to last a little bit longer. Kenny Petty comes from the side. He's being chased by Diamond. He's chased by Alex, but look at Ocelot. He's just sitting inside of this choke the entire time, just keeping the enemy team zone away from each other. Kenny Petty is able to escape, and they're able to pick up 3 kills in the end of this. But, I mean, Ocelot on the Karthus, you heard Freak and Joe talking about it, was the last time he's actually played it, and it was back at, I think it was the Season 2 World Finals in preparation for the group stage, and he showed right there that maybe you should play more Karthus.
Absolutely. It's all about the defile, of course, and that's simply the positioning. So many times you do put yourself in there and you get killed early, but he did the Zhonya's Hourglass, perfect timing, fantastically done. So Ocelot going big in his home crowd. You heard the crowd as well. You can see them walking out behind us. The end of the LCS has happened, so no surprise that they are starting to leave the stage, but there's a lot of them hanging around. They want to get autographs. You can see Ocelot standing by on stage. So this next replay, this was...
I'm trying to track it down still. I
can see
wrote down the wrong number.
Fighting to get to it. He's like...
Yeah. Apparently I wrote the wrong number down. And it was the replay when Kenny Petty came in from the side. I'm not going to talk about too much until I do find it, but
he's keeping it going,
give me a second.
But I mean, we should focus on the fact that SK have just won a game, guys, and they've just beaten Gambit. How many weeks running have Gambit looked unstoppable one of the days? Day 2 comes around, and they just suddenly crumble again.
Yeah, the thing is, they seem to have those moments where they just bounce back. Or actually, no, where they lose games where you think they shouldn't, like the Lemon Dogs, the 23-minute win that Lemon Dogs had over them. I don't want to take anything away from that, but to lose those games, then to kind of do amazing the next game, then to have the same problem happen again, it's a little confusing.
I don't want you to miss your point, by the way.
I'm trying to find it.
What I want to talk about is Genja, the fact that he was at 0-0-0 at 30 minutes in that game. He hadn't been involved in an assist, a kill, hadn't died, hadn't done anything. And this is what we've talked about before. Sometimes he would just go into his own little mind and he'd be off on the sidelines farming. Yeah, he had good farm, but if you're not helping out the team when it counts, 30 minutes in, you haven't even been involved in anything?
Yeah,
that's a problem.
It is. You know what? I'm going to give it on the replay. I cannot seem to find it here. It's just... I mean, if we're going to try this out a little bit longer, I can probably lock it down.
But preemptive. You've built it up. You've built
I know. I'm really sad because I wrote down the time and I couldn't seem to find it here.
You've let me down.
I let myself down. I let myself down.
I found it. Oh, he's got it. Boom.
Found it
now you want to rewind.
Okay.
Get there. It's all right, guys. He's only done this for about a couple of months now.
I've only been doing since the spring split. Okay, so the replay we want to show you here. I'm sorry it took so long. I really do apologize for that. But it's when Nif actually got caught when he had the Oracle on him. And we're going to see some, ignore all the graphics right now because I had to skim through so many times, but he gets caught here. And in the end, you do see SK come to his aid. Like, he realizes, oh, you know, I have my team on my back. I can be prepared to do this. As Darren, he goes straight into Ocelot. So Ocelot will be the first one to die. And pay attention, look at Candy Panda. He's down in that bottom lane right now. So we're going to run this rest of this replay. And the thing is, the aggression you see come out of him is just ridiculous. We never see Candy Panda this aggressive. So Ocelot, he goes down and he's like, all right, I'm going to do as much damage as I can because I'm Karthus. Pops his ultimate down, gets them very low. And then you're going to see just a perfect play out of Candy Panda who comes in from the side. And I want to point out specifically that was really hard to see during the match is actually he dodges an amazing dodges amazingly a ground set that comes out of Darren, and because of that he was able to stay alive, able to clean up these kills, and you're gonna see it happen right here. Tumbles out of it, and that right there, I mean, you look at it, it's very minuscule when you see it, but it really has a giant impact because look how low he drops. He ends up escaping with this flash over towards his top side. They get they get 5 kills and they get the Baron right off the back of that. It was just phenomenal play to Candy Panda, and we talked about him 2 weeks ago how he really stepped up for SK when they're having the management problems. He was the person to do that. We interviewed him about it, and he's really enthusiastic about everything, and that Vayne play out of him just really showed how good of an AD carry he really is.
And again, obviously you can't have a great AD carry without a great support. And we talked about the fact that he went, what, 8-1-11 or something like that towards the end of it. He went 8-1-15. Crazy stuff. So he was involved in almost everything. Meanwhile, Ocelot, 7-3-17 of 30 kills in the entire game. Massive stuff. Ocelot played fantastic. And of course, who else do we want to listen to? We want to hear from the man himself here in Tenerife. He is with Shocks.
Thank you very much, guys. So, Carlos, congratulations. What a victory here versus Gambit. Now, let me start by the picks and bans. What was the strategy going into this one? A lot of very much late game oriented champions, like yourself and Karthus, like that Vayne.
Bueno, te está preguntando por el tema de los picks y los bans. Antes que nada, eso sí, enhorabuena por esta pedazo de partida. Preguntarte eso, picks y bans, ¿por qué habéis cogido a Karthus y a Vayne, unos campeones que pueden ser, bueno, están normalmente orientados al late game?
Well, we like to play aggressive, even though the last games we actually played weren't very aggressive and lasted pretty long. So we know that Karthus really fits this playstyle because of the ultimate. We can make a lot of plays, and we can as well engage, which sometimes is actually a little bit of a shaky thing for us, you know. We lack of good engages. I think Karthus is actually very good engage. So Karthus fit right here. I was kind of surprised that he didn't go for a face pick or something really huge corner. I was expecting it, but I was prepared for it. And as a team, we prepared a lot for Gambit, so we knew that Vayne and Karthus combo really fits.
And for your Spanish fans, you could also.
What again? Oh, yeah, of course, I forgot. Pues eso es muy largo, vamos a ver. Vamos a ver, pues piqueamos a Karthus y a Vayne porque nos gusta mucho como los dos juntos, el ultimate de Karthus y la E y tal, hace que Vayne pegue kills bien y tal. Y I just forgot what I said in English, so I will just make it in Spanish. Nos hemos preparado mucho para Gambit y sabemos que estos dos piques eran la leche contra ellos. Karthus es un buen engaje y... el acento español, ¿qué pasa?
So, great victory here, but you guys are still dangling at the bottom of the standings. So what do you take from this game you will utilize in the next games to get back on top?
Una gran victoria, pero aún así estáis un poco por debajo de la clasificación. ¿Qué cogéis de esta partida para aplicarlo de aquí a las próximas?
Well, one thing is for sure, we are the most inconstant team. We are by far the worst team in that sense. We play very good games, we play very bad games, and you cannot be a champion if that happens. So what we take from these games is that if we actually prepare enough for the upcoming team we're playing against, we should be able to beat them, or at least have a good chance. But yesterday against MIM, I really felt so sorry because I would say we underestimated them, we didn't prepare enough for them, and that showed in the, I mean, they just destroyed us, you know, it's totally true. So nothing else to add. And now in Spanish. Vale. Pasa. Que somos un equipo un poco inconstante. Eso existe, ¿no? En español, inconstante. Es que se me olvida hablar, perdona. Y es cierto que tenemos partidas muy buenas y partidas muy malas, y lo que tenemos que hacer es, para ser un buen equipo, unos campeones, tenemos que aprender a que eso no pase, básicamente eso.
Finally, Ocelot, How much fuel did you take from the sea of Spanish people that came here to support you? And of course you can answer that in Spanish.
En términos generales, ¿cómo de respaldado te has visto con este pedazo de público aquí en Tenerife?
Pues la verdad es que hemos estado, por suerte, gracias a Riot, hemos estado en muchos sitios del mundo, hemos estado en Los Ángeles, hemos estado en todos lados, en Polonia, en todos lados. Y he de decir que España somos los que más huevos tienen.